you are here and in the right place. It is Joanne. I'm with Design with Jo here in Central Alberta, and I have been designing with you in mind since 1999. So I changed that up a little bit. Did you notice? So welcome everybody. We are going to be making a Father's Day card today using the Gone Fishing bundle. And how I choose what I'm going to create when I'm on my live, YouTube live, is I put it out to my VIPeeps, and my VIPeeps group is my Facebook group. Oh, I just have to turn myself down. I've gone live there now. And so I put out a couple questions like what color should we use, and in this one it was which bundle, and it was between the Hey Chuck bundle and the Gone Fishing bundle, and this one pretty much hands down won from the VIPeeps. So there were a few Hey Chucks in there, and what I'll do is I will do a video for next week using the Hey Chuck bundle. So for those of you who are finding it sometimes is challenging to make a masculine card. So today we're going to focus and make a Dad's Day card. And I don't know if next week will be a Dad's Day card, but it'll be one that you can change up and make a Dad's Day card. It might be a birthday card for a fella or something like that, because you have all told me that masculine cards are the ones that you find probably the most challenging. So let's make some and show you that maybe it's not so mysterious after all. So hello everybody, if this is your first time watching me, again, I'm Joanne Rogers. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Central Alberta, Canada, and I've been designing with you in mind since 1999, and I am so glad that you are here. Please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel for all kinds of great tips. A lot of tip videos out here, but some great project tutorials as well. And also follow me on Facebook and on my blog at www.designwithjo.ca. So I have an early bird right now for one of my classes. So every month I do an online class, or I try to every month. And this month it's about fun folds and DSP. So marrying the two of those together and coming up with some, just three, because sometimes it can be a little bit, what's the word I want? Overwhelming, shall we say. Sorry, I was having a problem there. Overwhelming to think about how to do some of those fun folds. And these ones are not really difficult, but they're three different ones, and different from each other, I mean, and they are going to be fun. They really are fun folds. And you can use them and create them with all kinds of designer series paper. So I'm just going to point you down at my desk, show you them a little bit, and then you can register right now. Why you want to register right now: class launches on Friday morning. It's all pre-recorded. If you're not available Friday morning, you can watch it anytime. You have lifetime access when you purchase online classes from me. I have a site just for my classes. And so if you can watch it Friday, or you can watch it next week or 3 months from now, you still have access. And they are video tutorials with some cutting measurements and all the supplies that you need. Okay, so let me turn you down, show them to you, and then we're going to get started on today's project. So if you get a little dizzy here, then just close your eyes. I was going to say hold your mouth a certain way, but that's not going to help you with dizziness, is it? Okay, so here we are. Give me a thumbs up if that looks okay for the view, that I'm in close enough for you to be able to see, that I'm not in too close or too far away. Let me just come in perhaps just a tiny bit. Okay, so this is my Fun Folds and DSP class. As I said, 3 different designs, and these are the designs right here. Okay, we're going to use the Zany Zoo, the Cottage Wreaths, and the Cheerful Daisies. And there's, as I said, 3 different ones that are a reverse fold, a flap fold, gate fold, and then sort of a double, almost an accordion type fold that I'm calling a fold back. So I'm giving you just little hints there. But one of the best things about any of my classes is all the alternatives I give you. So I give you those, and we make those cards. I show you start to finish how to make those cards. But then I show you different alternatives, so that I know that you all have lots of designer paper, you have lots of stamps, lots of dies. And so the idea here is to show you different alternatives on the same theme so that you can picture some of the things you already have in your stash. So there's a Christmas card in here. There's some fun ones with the hair from the Rain or Shine collection. There's another Cheerful Daisies. There's a bunch of different things so that you can see them. Okay, so where you want to go and get that is you want to go to www.designwithjo.ca/folds DSP, and that will take you to a page that tells you a little bit more about the class. Right now it's $25. It will go up to $30 after the early bird purchase time is over. So that's where you want to go and get yourself registered. And early bird ends on Thursday, this Thursday, and it's Tuesday now. And it is, in case you're wondering, it is May 16th, 2023, if you're watching this on the replay. And I do love when people watch the replay. Please leave comments and let me know that you are watching. Okay, so let's get going with today's project. So, as I said, I asked the VI Peeps, which is my Facebook group, what they would like me to play with. And I said we were going to do masculine, and so we are going to be working with the Gone Fishing bundle. Now, there's lots of great things about this bundle, but I really, really like the font in here. And the font is a little bit different. So when you see the good here, there's like little serifs almost, or little decorative elements on some of the letters. And it's a mix. So there's a mix of different letters in here, which are fun. It's not elegant or anything like that. It is just fun. Even this one here is more fun. Your Happy Father's Day, Happy Retirement, Congrats, Good Things Come to Those Who Wait, like fishermen wait, of course. And then there's some great images. So like the floaters, and you've got some hooks, and you've got some lures and some fish, of course. So, and this one fits right over top of here. So this is like a two-step guy too. So there's all kinds of great things to play with. That's two-step, and this is two-step, and that's two-step. So lots of fun stuff. If you have anybody in your life who is a fisherman, they are going to love this. But then you add on the dies. And so what's cool about the dies is that, yes, it cuts out all of these items here. Then there's a few additional ones. So there's this one here that you could, these two actually, you could create a tackle box kind of look with it. So this guy here would be sort of all the little compartments. This would be the tackle box outside, but also just a great layering piece with rounded corners. We've got some rings, you know, and fish dive into the water, and there's rings on the water. And then there's this guy here, and we are going to use this one here, which is sort of, let's call them waves. They are the water movement, and that's what we're going to play with today, as well as some of the words. I've pulled out So Glad That You're My Dad and Happy Father's Day, and a couple of these elements too. Okay, so I'm going to put those over there for just now, but I want to show you that tackle box kind of die. So here's where it cuts it out. So this is one run through your Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, but what's great about it is that it cuts out these pieces at the same time. Now let's see if I can get these back in the same place that they came from. So there are two the same and two the same, and then one that's a little bit larger. So we're going to be using the one that is a little bit larger today, but this is, you know, you could do all kinds of things with this one, but I love when you have multi-purpose dies that will give you some elements that everybody will use. Okay, so we are going to start with just a piece of our crumb cake. And this piece is, I'm pretty sure, let me grab my ruler. Yes, this one is 3 3/4 by 5. And we're going to do a couple things to this. We are going to stamp on it. No, we're not going to stamp on it. We are just going to sponge the outside edges. I had stamped on one of my earlier iterations, and I'm going to show you the card at the end. We're going to be using Pretty Peacock, and Lost Lagoon, two of our returning colors that were old in colors. Make sure that I'm still in the screen for you here. And then our piece of crumb cake. And I have my blue, which I'm going to use on my pretty peacock. I had to really think about what I was going to use here. And I see that I have green right there on my handle. So I'm going to grab one of my wet wipes here and just clean that off, because that will be all over my hand in no time. I'm going to put that off to the side. And then I have my green one here. Now, it doesn't matter that this is showing bright green here, because for the most part, there's not a lot of green in there. And you can always get rid of anything that you do have. And I'm pressing this fairly hard. You don't have to wash these all the time. I think maybe this one might be due for a wash. Let's see about my blue here. Again, it's sort of light as well. So that's okay. We can move into the colors that we have and it's still going to work fine. I'm going to start with my lighter color. My Lost Lagoon is here. So I'm just going to tap in, tap off. Always when I'm sponging, I want to do that. And then I'm just going to swirl it all over the place. You want to try and keep the amount of pressure about the same all the way around. So I'm not going to press harder in one area over another. So just get a little bit of color happening there. And again, doing that tap off just to take that major blah piece of, I don't even know what is a good word for that, blob of color. And we're just going all the way around with our Lost Lagoon. Okay, so just a little bit, and you're leaving the inside crumb cake. Okay, so there's just a little light color there. And you can see by going really, really softly that I don't have any areas that are really darker than the other. Okay, so we're going to tap in now to our pretty peacock. Same thing. You can see this is a much more intense color. So if you want, you can start rolling it a little bit over here. And I'm using a lighter touch this time. I just want to intensify that color a little bit without completely overshadowing the Lost Lagoon. I still want to see that a little bit, but I want to see pretty peacock on the outside corners. And that's one thing that happens, oops, almost wrong color, is you'll get a darker edge here from doing any kind of blending using our blending brushes. Okay, now you see that I'm using my hand fairly close to the head here. This is a really flexible arm, but I just have more control if I use it there. Okay, so that's that part there. While this is out, while our inks are out, we are going to stamp. And we are going to stamp So Glad That You're My Dad. And you know what? I just realized that rhymes. So glad that you were my dad. And we are going to stamp it on top of that piece of Very Vanilla that we had. Now, I can always line it up on my little grid paper. I'm really hoping that Stampin' Up! Decides they're going to sell this little grid pad all by itself, but they might not. We might have to go back to our big sheets just because it's so easy to pull in. So I'm just trying to get that nice and straight on top. Generally, when you have something that's almost the same size as your label, you just have to go in because the ink is just sticking, so you just have to pull that off. Okay, so we're going to leave that off to the side. And we're going to use Lost Lagoon, and I've just got the one that has it's a lure, a fishing lure, but it's also the hook on it. So I'm going to stamp off once and then stamp right over top. So I just want that in the background just so that it's there. You know that something's there, but it's not in your face. It's not overshadowing. And then I'm going to pull in just another piece of crumb cake. So this one is our regular card size, 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2, folded in half, and then just take out your bone folder and firm that up. And then generally what I do is I turn it over after I've burnished it, because I could have gotten just a little bit shiny. Crumb cake isn't a bad color for picking up shine, but others are. Okay, so I don't want to get that ink, get the top into my ink. So I'm just going to open it up, and I'm going to do Happy Father's Day also with our Pretty Peacock. Get that nice and straight here. And I'm going to do the same thing and have that underlapping piece. This time I have a different lure. And I like the ones that have the upside down, that have the two-step stamping. Now I could go over, but you know what? I'm not. I'm actually going to go underneath, I think. I think I'm going to go underneath for this lure. Yeah, what the heck? Try something a little different. Okay, so it is underneath. So that's the inside of our card. So we can set those aside, because now what we're going to do is we're going to work on the decoration. And we can close up our stamp pads. So how many people out of these two colors, which one is your favorite? Which one were you really, really happy to have come back? Was it the Lost Lagoon or Pretty Peacock? Or you really can't choose between the two? Now, we just want to clean that off, because I do see I've got Pretty Peacock. Okay, so which one is your favorite? I'm going to leave those there so that you can see them. Okay, so let's pull in some pieces of our Lost Lagoon and our Pretty Peacock. And we're going to pull in as well this die. Okay, so that's our long die. And we are just going to cut some of these. Now, what I have found, there are two ways you can cut this one. So you'll see when you look at it here that it actually has a cutting line that is wavy. And then these here are going to emboss. These will not cut. That ragged edge will not cut. It just embosses. So you do want to think about, where do I want my wavy line to go? And what I've found is that if I put my wavy pieces near the top, now I said that wrong actually, it is going to cut. I said that wrong, sorry. They will both cut, but I want to show you here. Let me show you with the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Pull it in. There you go. I run out of space very, very quickly all the time. So when you have a long die like this, you don't want to always run it through like this. When you run it through like this, what you over time are going to have happen is it is going to warp for sure. Similarly, you don't always want to run it through like this, because you're really going to have it warp and probably bow like this. Okay, it's going to get a real wow in it. So what you want to do when you're cutting is you want to try as much as possible to put it on a little bit of a diagonal. Okay, and then you're going to cut like that. So let me grab my other piece. Okay, this is just your regular sandwich. You put that guy in, run that through. Now I have found you could cut more than one at a time, but you're not going to get the same kind of detail. So what you get is two pieces you can use. So you can use just the wavy lines, or here's the wavy lines. I did tell you right. And the top. Okay, so there's the top. And I am using these like this. So we have our wavy lines with the detail of the foam really on the water. Okay, so that is Pretty Peacock. Sorry, that is Lost Lagoon. Now I have already cut some of those. So I'll pull those in here. And I'll tell you what colors I have. So I have two Pretty Peacock. I have now 3 Lost Lagoon, including that little one. And I have one of our Pebbled Path. And the Pebbled Path is one of the new in colors. And it's quite a gray brown. But it's I think this is my favorite in color. I really like this color. So we're going to pull this piece in that we did the sponging on. And I'm also going to pull in my silicone craft sheet. Put this right over top and decide which one, if you want, do you want the top or the bottom showing? So is this my top or is that my top? Sort of 6 of one, half dozen of the other. If I go with this one, there's a little bit more darkness up here. And so I think I'm going to, I don't want to lose that darkness, because we are really going to cover up, if not all of this, certainly some of it. Now you could have just left it without any kind of color, but if you're going all the way around, it gives you the options. So we are going to just start by placing. You want to place your top one, your innermost one first, and you can decide on what order But what I have found is I wouldn't want to go like this. Can you see how that's exactly the same from here to here? And if let me come in just a tiny bit closer for you so that you can see a little closer. I'll never be able to get that back out again now. So if I put it like this, then my ridges, my curves are all going the same way. So I want this to go one way or the other. Now I can't go too far this way because it's too short. I do want it to go over the entire piece, and here I could go here because it's going right to the edge. Okay, so I think we're going to do that. So right now you're just placing. Then I have one like this. Again, we don't want them all to be the same, and if some are wider and narrower, perfect. And let's maybe take another one of these guys here, place it over here, and then maybe this guy here down at the bottom. Okay, so what we're doing is just creating some ripples, some waves of color. Now, that's what I'm deciding on. I'm going to take those off, and now I'm going to glue them down using liquid glue. So let's just take these guys off right now. Pull in my liquid glue, and that's why we're working on the silicone craft sheet. So I'm going to try and put that sort of in the area where I thought it was. And you always have the option of making some different moves here, but we're going to try and stick as much as possible to what we had. Okay, so just some liquid glue allows you time for it to set up. I think this one was out here as far as it could go. And just place that in there. We will need to now that's actually pretty much the same. I must have moved that other one, so let's move it over just a little bit. Okay, go there. So placement here is just fun. There's no right, no wrong. If you like that look of them going at the same rate, if you like the look of them where they're all sort of the same width apart, you know, it's your card. Do whatever you want. And then we're going to do our other guy here. I want a little bit more of that gray showing. I want it to go this way a bit so it's not in line. I do like the alternate kind of look. And then I'm seeing that Pretty Peacock, people are liking that one a lot better. And let's put this guy here down here. So the last one, what you do want to make sure your last one does is it wants to line up with exactly the bottom. Okay, it doesn't matter if it goes to the left and the right, but it's got to line up with the bottom. So now give that just a little bit of time to dry. Put our lid back on here. And then while we're waiting for that, I have also pulled in here. Let me just clean just a tiny little bit. I wanted to have a little bit of something to show this up. I'm going to put dimensionals on the back. And by show it up, I mean something just to decorate it a little bit. But we don't want it to look girly, right? We want it to look like something for the guys. And so how I decided on guys is guy colors, greens and grays. You know, even the vanilla isn't a lady's color. And the dual greens here. I'm not going to put this on quite yet. I just about was. But I thought, okay, well, you know what? I could go with anything there, but these are our new, what are these called? Soft shimmer, and they are flat. They're not bumpy at all. They're not harsh, and they come in bubble bath. They are 12 by 12 sheets. You get 5 different sheets: Bubble Bath, Berry Burst, Lost Lagoon, Pretty Peacock, and Night of Navy, which I think is a pretty good match too, very close to Blueberry Bushel. Very pretty, catch the light. So what I did is one of these dies, so this die right here has a little heart attached that you can use as a lure. So I cut out a heart. Here we are. Here's some of the ones that I've cut out. Okay, so I've cut out these guys, but I cut out a whack of these ones. I wanted different hearts, you can see. So I've got boho blue. I've got a couple of our that come from the silver paper, the silver foil. And then I have the Lost Lagoon and the Pretty Peacock. I also cut out, this one here is a little standalone die. I hope you can see that that's in the boho blue as well. There's the cutest little hooks here. There's two that it cuts out, and then there are some hearts. So the hearts that I have cut out, the one goes with the Pretty Peacock, this one goes together. I have a silver one, and then we also have the this is, oh, what do you call these ones? The floater that sits on top of the water. And so there's, oh, I seem to have lost it here. There's a little top that goes on it too that you can use. Now, I could have gone with all of these ones and we could have put this, you know, bobbing in the water if you wanted. I didn't really like, for this card, I wasn't really thrilled with that look. So I'm going to take these out. We might want to use those. I have a little bit of something in mind. So let's keep those guys out. And I've already taken the heart. I've taken the Lost Lagoon heart and I've just tied. So when it goes through the die cut machine, it has a little hole. And so I've taken that. And then these in colors are the jute trim. So it comes in a package of the 5 in colors. And I used the Pebbled Path. And what I did was, let me just show you. Take that out. Because it's too thick to fit through the hole by itself. So I unraveled it. There's 3 different twines in here. And it's easier if it were cut probably. So just start by working on one end. And what you'll see is it will come out. Now, if you have a hard time doing that, take your pick tool and go into one of them and you'll see that it sort of separates quite easily. And then you'll be able to get as much as you need. Okay, and I actually took probably a piece that was about that long. Okay, now you can do anything that you want with this, but what I did is I just tied it around and knotted it over on the side. Not precise. I don't want it to be beautiful. I just want it to have a little bit more interest because this is a guy card. No ribbons to be found, right? Does anybody here put ribbons on guys' cards? So now I'm going to pull in my big scissors, and these are not Stampin' Up! Scissors, but they're great big ones that I don't really worry about too much getting glue on. And my paper snips would work, but these ones have a much stiffer shank, and I'm going through layers of cardstock here. So I turn it upside down. You wanted it to dry as much as possible to get some of the glue dried. I can see it's still a little bit white down there. If it's all white, then probably just hold off a little bit. And then just cut in line with that. And we're going to cut off these pieces. Now, I wouldn't actually throw these out because you might have a use for that at some future point. And then do the same thing over here. Okay, and it's going to give you a really nice bottom. Okay, you have such a nice bottom. So we are going to now take this. We're going to start putting our card together. So we're going to take our piece of crumb cake, our card itself, and we're going to decide, you guys can help me here, what color do we want it to go on? Do we want it to go on Lost Lagoon, which will look like this? Okay, let's put it sort of all together. There's our Lost Lagoon. Or do we want it to go on Pretty Peacock? Now, some of you have already said your favorite is Pretty Peacock, but what one looks better, do you think? Put a comment in there and let me know. And that's the one that we're going to go with. I'll watch the comments here for just a moment. And we're also going to, now one thing, you get little hairs from there. We're probably going to put this down. We'll decide, but we'll decide where we're going to put our heart. And Pretty Peacock. It looks like Peacock is the winner again. Okay. Did anybody like Lost Lagoon? So let's glue this down. We'll glue it down onto our Pretty Peacock first. And then we'll go right onto our card. Whoops, peacock. Just about didn't do that there. Okay, so give that a few moments to settle up. And then we're going to put that right on top of our crumb cake. Now what I find too, when you're doing masculine cards, do away with some of your dimensionals. And that's hard for me to say because I am a dimensional gal. But sometimes less is more on a masculine card. Okay, so you're just going to lay that right down onto your card and get that guy out of the way. Now what we need to do is decide if we want any of these other pieces to go on here. So this is a lure. I'll take that other hole out of there. So there's a lure, or the pretty peacock one. And there's our heart. Our heart can go just about anywhere. Whoops, it wants those little bits want to stick to my finger. Okay, so something like that. So let me know if you want any lures on there or if you only want the heart. And and here's let's go here. Here's the, what's that? Hook. There's a hook there. You probably could do a hook over here. Oh, something like that. So again, put some comments in there and let me know what you would like to do. While I'm waiting for that, I'm just going to tidy up a tiny little bit here and wait for you guys to tell me what you would like to see. If you want to see more decoration, more lures, less lures. I see Carlos is saying no lures. What about anybody else? Let's have at least 3 comments. 3 comments so that we know what we should be going with. Oh, we have no lures, keep the lures, and we have 2 for and 2 against. Uh-oh, now we're in keep. So we have 3 keeps. Okay, I'm going to keep the lures. I have 3, so I'm going to glue these down. This is going to go last. I'm going to glue these down because I don't want them to be on dimensionals because our words are going to be on dimensionals. So let's glue this guy down. And while that is sitting there, now I did not cut these hooks with double-sided adhesive. So I'm going to go in there and very painstakingly put a few little dabs of my liquid glue out of my little fine tip applicator here. Just a couple to hold it in place. And this works great. These work great. And this is just off of Amazon that I got those. Whoop. Wants to stick. I'm going to turn it around, go this way. And I don't want it to come directly out the end, and then I think I had this guy here. Now this one I could put on with a dimensional maybe. No, I'm not going to. I said we're going to keep it simple. That's keeping it simple. Now I do want a little bit more glue just right on the end there, just so that it doesn't stick up. Okay, so there's guy. Okay, let those set up. We're going to put our words on, and then we'll decide where we want our heart to go. Okay, and I think maybe only 1 hook. So I want to overlap my lures a little bit here. I'm stuck. Overlap them a little bit. Get it in there straight. And the heart, I wonder if our heart should maybe go on this side just to balance it a little bit, or on that side. I think I'm just slightly off. I think it does look better there. You guys sort of agree? So I think so. I'm not giving you much time to think about that or answer. I'm just going to go for it. So a little bit of glue. Now, if you have problems with getting glue and that's what the putty end of your take your pick is great for. So I can lift that up, it's sticking, and I can just place it down over here. Okay, so then you can get it in proper placement easily. So there we go. That is our card. Let me get some of the stuff out of the way so you can see it in its beauty, and I'm going to bring in the other one, which is a different color palette. So there it is in our Lost Lagoon Pretty Peacock. And here it is, a little simpler version. And this one is in same bases. So we've got our vanilla, we've got our crumb cake, and this one is done in blues. And I have the pebbled path, but I also have basic gray in here. And this is Misty Moonlight in here. So pebbled path in behind, the exact same lure, but I think it's going a different way. Yeah, it looks like it. So exactly the same card, just done in different colors. And so you might like one, you might like this one a little bit better. You might like the blue one. So this one has the fish on it, and this one has our lure on it. So same, exact same kind of idea. So there you go. There's your card for today. I hope you enjoyed that. That is a simple and quick Father's Day card that you could make. Whenever you're cutting your dies, just cut a few extra at the same time, and then you'll always be able to pick from whatever you've got there. Okay, so I hope you had a great time. I am away next week. I am on the Norway cruise, but I'm going to pre-record a video for you using the Hey Chuck. So again, it's going to be a masculine card, and the video will come live at 1 o'clock on Tuesday. So it's like I am not away, like I'm really going to be right here. So I hope you have a great time. Have a great week. Don't forget about my class, which is, I'll just bring it back in here. Okay, so this is my Fun Folds and DSP online class, and you get 3 different cards, all the instructions, and then you get 6 different alternatives. So it's like you have 9 cards, not just 3 cards, and start to finish how to make them. So I hope you sign up. I'd love to have you take a class. I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.